Hello, and welcome to another episode of Thrive Like a Parent podcast. I'm going to talk to you today about raising strong-willed children and how not to lose your ever-loving mind in the process. And I want you to know that I feel ya because I got one at home. I'm going to explain to you all the different things of why they're strong-willed and what does that look like in terms of their sensory system and how to support them and how to trust your parenting and trust the steps to take through the process, okay? Because honestly, some of the things I'm going to suggest and recommend and the things I tell my clients and the things that I know are the correct and right things for your child's brain may feel wildly uncomfortable to you, or it may invoke some whining or tears or more emotion from your children, which you may not have the capacity for, but yet I promise you are beneficial in the long run. Okay. So what is a strong-willed child? What is a strong-willed child? Okay. So this can be two different things. Okay. Sometimes it's a child with really strong emotions, right? It's either emotional regulation side or the sensory regulation side. And sometimes it's a little bit of both. Okay. Which is why I teach both the emotional side and the sensory side. Okay. We can have children with really, really, really strong right brains, really strong emotions. We have emotions about everything. And it's a whole long conversation. It's all the different things. Sometimes we have kids who, on the sensory side of things, are dysregulated. And so they're pushing back or fighting back because they're attempting to get regulated, but yet it doesn't quite meet the quote. I like to put it in quotes because it doesn't quite meet the normative response of the everyday society that we request of our children, aka sitting in your chair the whole day, right? Like, my child is so strong-willed. They won't sit in their chair. They won't sit in their chair. They want to go do the thing. They want to get up. They want to take a break. They push back on the teacher, all the different things, right? So it can literally be sensorially or emotionally or a combo of the two. So that's why your child's strong-willed. Honestly, it's because your child's probably brilliant AF and knows how to do and get and support and all the different things for themselves of what they need. And again, it's the societal norms of what we're placing on them or how we want them to show up, right? So like, just because our children are little strong-willed kids who like to jump from task to task to task and leave a complete mess behind doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we want within our own home, okay? And I'm here to tell you that I have a very strong little boy in my own home. And so I have supported this child in terms of who he is, how he functions, yet making sure that I remain sane. Like, I don't really know what else to say. Like, I have to be able to function as well, right? We don't recognize how hard it is to live with different humans 24/7, whether it's your partner or your children. Like, we don't give that enough credit. We don't, to be like, yeah, this is hard to build a dynamic where I've got a seeker in the house and an avoider in the house and a low registration in the house and a this in the house. Like, this isn't easy to mumble jumble it all up and make one happy, perfect family that you see on those little postcards, right, for Christmas, which is all bullshit. But anyway, that's a whole nother story, right? Like, that's not reality. You just came home from like mayhem where there's shit all over the house and Johnny's pants didn't fit and they're hysterically crying and you want to beat up your partner and you're like, shut up and smile, right? Like, it's one of those moments. That's why I don't do those cards anymore. I think I maybe did it once and I was like, this is for the birds. Forget that, right? So with a strong-willed child, the hard part here is that their feelings matter. The hard part here is that if they are a strong-willed child based on their sensory system, they are attempting to regulate themselves individually, and it's the norms that we're placing on them to try and function of, quote, sitting in their chair all day long, or stop climbing my bookshelf, or clean your stuff up before, turn your light off and push your shelves in, and all the different things that we are asking of them because we want these things out of life, right? Like, not only are they norms that we have been taught by our parents or in society, right? Clean and tidy. We are trying to teach our strong-willed human that, whether, again, it's the emotional side of like, everything is a basket case, everything is a mess, everything is, I'm going to win. Like, I'm going to, like, I'll stare you down. Like, I'm going to win that stare contest, and I'm going to win tug of war, and like, I'm going to win. Like, I got this. I got years on you, mom. And like, I got you. Don't even try. It's exhausting. I want to tell you, it is exhausting. And I very much understand like big time. And these strong-willed humans, you already know this, but they are going to test you like none other, like to the point where you are literally wanting to pull your hair out, right? You absolutely will be exhausted for sure. You absolutely will lose your shit sometimes. You absolutely will snap. I'm telling you those things to let you know that you're normal. And maybe from time to time, you may even want to sell them on eBay. That's a total joke, but I hope you're laughing at the same time. It is okay to be like, oh my God. Like, it is okay to have the frustration. I want to give you all of that validation. Like, if you need a donut some days and you're like, this just makes me feel good, and the ability to like support my child for one more moment because I'm about to lose it, it's okay. It is okay. Okay, it's okay to snap sometimes. It's okay to lose it sometimes. It's okay to feel so incredibly frustrated that you want to throw them out the window of the car. Like, it is okay. Do we still love them? Yeah. Right? And like, even though the eBay, it was a total joke, but like, of course, like yeah. Like, I need you to know that despite sometimes us never talking about the hard shit, despite us never saying the hard things of like, I'm there. Like, I'm there. Because we're like, hey, Sally, oh yeah, everything's fine. And then you're like, oh, behind closed doors. It's okay to feel those things. It is okay to feel those things. It doesn't mean that you don't love your kid. It doesn't. And I have to tell you, some of our clients, they go through such emotional grief and they feel such guilt and shame when they finally release it and allow them to say, like, sometimes I'm just frustrated. Like, sometimes this would be easier if they weren't so hard. And I paused even as I said that, because I don't want you to think that I'm just saying you can just shit on your kid and be like, oh, it's totally fine. Like, but your feelings matter. And I just said, right? Like, if they're a strong-willed child, the hard part here is that their feelings matter. So like, everyone at play here matters. Every single one of you, your children, it's okay to have struggles. It's okay to feel the frustration. It is okay to feel it. I cannot say this enough. I could probably keep going on forever about this. Like, I need you to know it's okay to feel that. It's okay to have that deep, dark secret of, I'm so incredibly frustrated. This is so hard. I wish this were easier. And I'm full blown okay to admit that to you. I wish sometimes it were easier. Has it gotten easier? Yeah. Age is and maturity is a wonderful thing, right? Like, and all the different tasks and tips and tricks I'll give you today. Like, it works. Like, this stuff works. And I'm letting you know that it's getting easier and easier year by year. One of the craziest things, and I've said this before, but one of the reasons I got into this of working with parents rather than continuing to support children is because there was no humanly way possible I could do what I'm now doing with children, despite the fact that I never meet your children. There was no humanly way possible to do this with an hour to 30 minutes a week of therapy in regular standard OT. I owned a whole damn business, and I can prove that it didn't frickin' work. And all of my parents are like, please, like, help us, like, please. It was so excruciating internally for me to be like, well, I'm here. Like, I own a business. I'm here. I'm supporting that business. I'm making money for that business, but I just don't feel like this is actually working. Like, it was so hard for me. But that's what I went to school to do. And that's the medical model that's set up. I've kind of blown that up and decided I'm going to do my own damn thing because I actually want this to work. Like, I actually want to help parents because I understand. Like, I understand it's not always easy. It's not always easy. And that is okay for it to not be easy. It's okay to validate your own experience of parenthood, especially if you have a strong-willed child. Even if you don't, like, it's okay. It is okay. The one thing you do already know is that they're going to be one heck of an adult. I don't know if you've heard me say, and you know I don't really like talking specifics about my kids. I don't really necessarily feel that this is their story to tell of like who they are and how they function in their own nervous system. I tell my clients a lot more than I do the natural public simply because it's so natural for me to use examples. But I know that my strong-willed child, without using his name, I know that my strong-willed child is Brooke 2.0. Like get ready, world. Like it's like it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be fire. But in the meantime, it's been interesting. And there's not one freckle on that child's body that I don't love and I am not completely and utterly obsessed with. And I would never sell him on eBay, just FYI. Again, total joke, right? Got to keep it light, give you some humor every now and then, yeah? So despite all that I've just said, okay, Brooke, like I hear you. Thank you for validating, but like I still got to deal with this. Like, how do I do this? Like, what do I do? How do I do this? Yeah. So, I usually give you like one big takeaway. I'm like, if you don't hear anything else, I need you to hear this. It's okay to be in the driver's seat of parenthood. I think that we have swung. First, it was corporal style and very black and white and logic and boundaries and no discussion of emotion. We came from a generation of parents where they didn't really discuss emotion with us. They just didn't. They didn't learn that from their parents. And if you had parents who were awesome and did have the emotional side to them and did share all that with you, I'm so thrilled for you, like so thrilled. But majority of us did not. Again, does not make our parents wrong. They just didn't have that model to learn what to do. Now we are in a mixed bag of like, we're all zenning out and we're all talking about emotions and we're all feeling it. But like, I'm so angry at my parents because they didn't give me this. And now I don't know what to do. And now conscious parenting and gentle parenting is telling me I need to feel all the feelings and share with them, but I can't handle this. Like, this is enough, right? We're all a mixed bag of tricks here. Yeah. So I need you to know that there can be a balance, which means getting in the driver's seat between boundaries and emotions, which is logic brain, boundaries, emotion brain, right side of the brain. Yeah. It's okay to have both. It is okay. And you can do it, right? So let me explain to you what it looks like to have boundaries and support our children's emotions and remain in the driver's seat. Okay. So oftentimes I find that when parents come to me, it's a few different things. Either we are so exhausted that we're like, here, have the second Oreo. I can't do, sure. Let me turn the TV on. I just need you to be silent. Like I cannot here's your iPad, like go. Or like, you won't be quiet in the car. Here's another snack. So then you got a shit box of a car with crumbs everywhere, right? Like we give in because we're so exhausted. We're so tired and they're winning the tug of war. They are winning the stare contest. Like they're doing it. They are absolutely doing it. Does that make you a terrible parent that they're winning? No, you're exhausted. You only have so much, right? Your capacity is so much. I very much share with my kids. Literally yesterday, we had a phenomenal day together. And towards the end of it, about 6:30-ish, 7 o'clock, I looked at both of them and I was like, guys, I love you both so much. Mommy is there for the day. I just need you guys to know that. I don't have much capacity left. It has nothing to do with you. I love you both, but I just need you to know I'm going to snap. Like I'm going to be there. Like I'm close to being there. And they're like, okay, mommy. Like, and they understood it. They understood it. Was I a little bit more on edge? Yeah, but we talked about it because they knew that it was where I was at for the day. And you can only have so much. Yeah. So let's give an example of a kiddo who's just not listening, right? You're like, you're not listening. You're like, put your shoes on, put your shoes on. I don't want to put my shoes on. Or like, put your jacket on. I don't want to wear a jacket outside. Or like, no, you cannot have another Oreo for the day. Like all the different things like that. Okay. If you decide to hold a boundary where you're like, no, I can't, no, right? Whatever it is, just the answer is no for today. That's okay to have the answer be no for today if it works for you, which means you're in the driver's seat. Boundary. Having a boundary with your children does not equate to bad parenting. Yeah? So if they lose it or they're like so upset and they're going, but why? But and all the things. Beg, borrow, steal, manipulation style. Yeah? Even if they melt down or they're having a tantrum, look at them if you can, if you're not driving, and just ask them, how do you feel right now? Okay. So if they have no earthly idea how they feel, that's when you teach them. Do you feel happy or do you feel sad? Give them two completely different things. If they pick the second one, swap it, ask them again, because sometimes if they're young, they'll do the second one because that's the one they remember. So make sure that it's relating to what you really think their moods are, okay? After they share how they feel, or if you teach them how they feel, validate. Thank you for sharing. Why? Why are we doing that? Because we want them to know you will always listen. Those strong-willed children, we don't want to just shut them up and break them. Like, that's not what we want. We're going to validate, but still hold boundaries and be like, look, you can be a strong-willed kid. I want you to fly to the sky when you're an adult. Like, you got this. And I want to give you all the self-confidence in the world to be able to share your feelings. Like, I got you. But I just need you to know that sometimes there's boundaries. Sometimes, yeah? So we're going to thank them for sharing, okay? Just because your child feels a certain way, just because they say, I hate you, or just because they say, I'm mad at you, or just because they say, I want that, or, but why can't I have another? Or they just pushed 50,000 times, okay? I'm using one word or a few words example, but like, I'm talking like continue going, right? Just because they keep pushing or they feel a certain way does not mean you need to give in. It doesn't. Does it feel uncomfortable? Is that where the tug of war begins? Yeah, they're going to do a standoff to those strong-willed kids. And let me tell you, I have worked with parents who have beyond strong-willed kids where they're throwing things at the door and they will do anything to win. They're so brilliant. They are so brilliant, okay? The hard part for us is that they know we love them. They know we're going to eventually break, but they need to know who is in the driver's seat. If they got in that driver's seat, they'd probably crash the car. So what I need you to do is just keep moving forward. I'm going to give another example. Let's say your kiddo is really struggling with transitions and struggling to go into the school or struggling to get into the classroom or struggling to go from XYZ, struggling to go to a birthday party or get in the car, like whatever it is. Yeah, maybe it's a Saturday and you're like, let's go have breakfast. Why is this a 30-minute ordeal to get you in the car? I want you to keep moving. I want you to trust yourself and keep moving. I had a client that they went to the beach last summer and their son struggles with sensory regulation. And because of that, there is such discomfort that it would prove to be a strong-willed child of like, no, I'm not going. No, I'm not doing this. Like hiding under the bed, all the different things. If you stay behind and if you allow that to continue, then your child's missing out on a beautiful sensory experience that will teach them and their brain and their body that they enjoy being at the beach. Will teach them that it's okay to feel all the stimuli around them and the sand and the water and all the different things, yeah? If you would rather stay behind, that's a whole different story, right? You get to be in the driver's seat and just say, oh, I'm just going to stay behind because I kind of want to. We're going to ask, how do you feel right now? Thank you so much for sharing. I hear you. I hear you do not want to go to the beach today. We came as a family to go to, this is why we're here, to go to the beach. And that is what we are going to do today. I need you to put your shoes on, come downstairs, we're going to put sunscreen on you, and then we're going to head into the car or walk to the beach or whatever it is, right? And then I need you to keep moving. We're leaving in 5 minutes. Give them a timer, right? Like keep moving forward. I'm getting in the car. Sit, wait in the car. Bye. They will come out. Keep moving them forward. If they're in the car, they won't get out of the car to go to school. Let's go. Let's get out there. If they're young, like it's okay to pick them up and give them some deep pressure. And we're just going to keep moving forward. Because if we stall, it's more patterning of the brain. It's more patterning to be like, it's okay to stay in this uncomfortable space. It's okay to remain in the fear. It's okay to remain in the discomfort. What we're going to do is just kind of push through fast and be like, let's keep going. Okay. So validate, share with them their feeling. Like, I hear you. It's okay to feel that way, but this is what we're going to do today. Or no, we're not going to have another piece of pie today. Like whatever it is, it's okay to do that. Yeah. It's okay. I need you to hear me say that it's okay. This is when remaining in the driver's seat and holding those boundaries is so incredibly important. Is it wildly uncomfortable for you? You bet. Will it last forever? No. Are they capable? Is your child capable? The answer is yes, they are. We're not going to negotiate. If you have made a decision and you want that to be the decision, I don't need you to tell them to stop crying. I don't need you to, please don't hit them. Like, I don't need any of that. Just keep going. Take deep breaths, get some loops in your ears, put earplugs in. You'll still be able to hear them. Just keep going. Let them know it's okay to feel that way, but this is what's happening for today. Yeah? Now, if you negotiate, if you give in every single time for more iPad time or screen days, or like if you give in, it will continue. It will. I don't really know what else to say. It will continue. And again, I work with really, really, really strong-willed kids who sometimes these behaviors last for a few weeks, maybe even months. You can begin to see the speckles of and glimmer of hope of like, oh, wow, that went really well. And for the really, really, really strong-willed kids, sometimes it does take a while. The ability for you to trust in what you're doing is the most important part. That is literally the most important part. I have DMs every now and then. They're like, what do I do if my kid's hitting me? Like, what? Huh? And like my kid's 9, they're still hitting me. What? And I'm not saying what, meaning you're a terrible parent. How could you do that? Like, listen to me when I say you're not a bad parent. But I do understand that there is fear for you and holding the boundary, getting into the driver's seat because you fear breaking that connection with your child. Gentle parenting, conscious parenting has literally taught us, let our children feel their feelings. I'm not telling you to shut them up. I just said that. But if you don't want to be hit, it's okay to hold that boundary. It's okay to be like, that's not something we're going to do. The answer is no. I would not let my children hit me. I wouldn't let a partner hit me. Like I wouldn't let a boss hit me. So like, it's okay to teach your child boundaries in that way. Yeah. Now, the second most important piece of this is it's okay to hold boundaries. It's okay for you to feel the discomfort of holding that boundary. It's okay to keep moving forward. We're not going to just let it go because we care. So what I would love for you to do is debrief later in the day when everything is calm. If you have listened to my Tantrum versus Meltdown course, you will know that when they're in a meltdown, their brain is offline. If you've listened to that podcast, that's not the time to start talking and having the feelings conversation. It's not the time. It's not the time to debrief. Literally wait till the end of the day where they're all tucked in and snuggly in their bed and they're lovey and they don't want you to leave the room. And then you can say, hey, how'd you feel today when da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Let them share. If they don't want to share, that's okay. We're not going to push. But guess what? You get to share your feelings if you'd like. It's okay not to share. Or thank you so much for sharing. I would like you to know that I felt da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It felt da-da-da-da-da. Whatever. Share with them. That's building a connection. It's modeling that it's okay to share your feelings. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to talk about the hard things that happen. Have you ever been in a situation with your parents or somewhere in the past where like something happened and then you're like, and then it was never spoken of again? What? Like what? That's like, no. Like we got to talk about it. And it's okay to talk about it. Then we want to give our children praise. Let's say, thank you so much for sharing. Like, I'm so proud of you for having this conversation with me. Maybe that's all you can muster up for today because you're really frustrated at them. Maybe it's, I feel so proud of you today because while I know that was really hard to go to the beach, or that was really hard to not have that second Oreo. That was really, whatever it is. I'm so proud of you because you got through it. And we did it as a team together. And thank you so much for XYZ, right? It's okay to have those conversations with your kids. It's teaching them communication and teaching them to have hard conversations about emotions when we're calm, cool, and collected, right? And I know I've said this before. I'll say it many times again, and I've even said it in this podcast already, but choose the times where you're choosing to show up and tell yourself, I'm doing this now so I don't have to do this later. And I'm going to trust this process. Even when you're on the floor crying and your kiddo's a wreck and you're holding that boundary and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe like I just gave a natural consequence, but like they really want to go play with their friends or like whatever the holding of the boundary is. Consistency and showing up to the party for your children will be the most important thing you ever do. Because when they become adults, if they have no idea what boundaries are and they haven't been taught that it's okay for others to have boundaries, for them to have boundaries, for them to learn what a boundary looks like, as well as for them to communicate through that, they're going to have to learn it as adults. So at some point, they will need to learn this. And I have pushed through my own life and my own motherhood with my own children, because in the times where I feel the most exhausted and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this again. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it. I just remind myself, this is what needs to be done now so that we can get to the good. This is what we need to do now so that we can XYZ. And I trust every single moment of what I'm doing, because I know that that's what my children's brain needs, is a strong mom and a strong leader to be able to teach the hard. And yes, it is hard sometimes. So again, I want to remind you that we are not here to ignore. We're not here to shut down. We're not here to shut up. We can listen, allow them to have their emotions and feelings. We're not going to tell them to stop crying, but also hold a boundary. And that combo is extremely hard because you don't want to have to listen to it. It's exhausting to listen to it. It's excruciating. It's hard. It's triggering. It's all the different things. But I need you to trust. Trust in your abilities. Trust that you are doing this for your children, and you are doing this to support your child, and you're doing this because you love yourself, and you are also in this dynamic as well, living in this home. Everyone matters. Everyone matters in this situation. Every single one of you in that home. It's okay for you to accept that you matter. And so, please take care of yourself. Please support your brain and body, not just your children's. And until next time, XOXO, Dr. B.